very warm welcome to everybody to our second Feefo Masterclass on the very important topic, how to display feedback that converts. Let's run through the order for today. I'll start with some introductions and run you through the display landscape. We'll hear from CV Villas about what they do in this area, and we'll then move on to unlocking UGC. And then finally, how can you ensure you remain compliant following the DMCC Act? We're more than happy to take questions today, so please do pop them in the chat and we will answer them at the end when we can get to them. And anything else we can't get to, we'll respond to you via email. So let's get started. Next slide, please. Our speakers today consist of, firstly, me. I'm Vicky, a Director of Customer Success at Feefo. I've been with the business for 11 years now, and my role focuses on the success, retention and growth of our small and mid-sized client segments, ensuring businesses maximise the value of Feefo's Reviews and Insights platform. I'm joined today by Ottilie, one of our incredible product managers, currently specialising in the display product pillar, and Hannah, who is Marketing Manager at CV Villas. Next slide. So who are we? Here at Feefo, our goal is to turn customer voices into business value. We provide the tools at scale to collect, display and analyse verified customer feedback, delivering powerful, actionable business insights straight to your team. This insight helps you build and protect your brand reputation, to increase your visibility and your impact, boost conversions and drive sales growth, turn insights into action across your entire organisation. As firm believers in verified reviews and transparency, we are very much your partner in maintaining compliance and reducing risk, as well as improving the customer experience you deliver every single day. Next slide, please. At Feefo, we are the guardians of trusted feedback and insights. It's in our DNA. We work with over 6,500 brands to help them turn customer feedback into powerful signals that shape strategy and drive business growth. In our new expert-led Masterclass series, our in-house specialists will share best practice and approaches that turn customer voices into strategic advantage. It's all about learning how to get the most out of your customer feedback. Our last Masterclass looked at how to boost response rates with smarter feedback requests. Today, we'll cover how to display reviews to build trust and to drive conversions. And further sessions will include how to decode customer sentiment and spot what really matters, how to act on insights to improve experience and retention, how to use feedback to guide business and brand strategy. Each Masterclass is packed with practical steps and real-world examples from brands leading the way in feedback management. You'll get an accompanying guide, which are our top tips in these subject areas. No sales pitches, just expertise and actionable insights designed to help you make feedback your foundation. So you've done the hard part by asking and collecting feedback. So why is it important to showcase your reviews? Verified reviews provide independent validation that outweigh internal marketing claims, building immediate trust and building credibility. You'll hear a little bit later about how CV Villas approach this. Potential customers are often skeptical of a business-owned marketing claims. Reviews from consumers act as social proof, which is highly influential. People trust the opinion of other buyers as much as, or nearly as much as, a personal recommendation. Displaying genuine real-life feedback, whether positive or constructive criticism, shows transparency and makes the business feel more authentic and reliable. Displaying reviews drives conversions as they directly influence purchasing decisions. 91% of consumers read reviews before buying, and Capital One's shopping research shows products with reviews convert 270% higher than those without. Reviews help mitigate a buyer's doubt or purchase anxiety by providing insights into product quality, performance, and value from people who have already experienced it. Social proof reduces purchase anxiety, acting as the final psychological push to turn browsers into buyers. And boosting SEO. Search engines like Google favour fresh, user-generated content. Reviews contain natural language, including keywords and phrases that people use to search for products or services, which further enhances a business's online presence. Star ratings or rich snippets help you stand out in search results, while fresh organic content improves your organic ranking. Next slide, please. So where should you be showcasing your reviews? Shortly, we'll be seeing how CV Villas do this, but commonly, businesses should be considering all of the places a consumer would go to engage with their service or to buy their products. Online, this looks like a little something like displaying your overall brand rating on your homepage whilst presenting recent reviews in a carousel type fashion. We'll cover off some considerations here a little later in the DMCC guidance, but your homepage is likely to be the first place a consumer goes for discovery, so you need to show your scores. On your product pages, there are a few things to consider here. You should be showcasing your stars and the verbatim comments. Include the product star rating next to your call to action for quick reinforcement, and display all reviews comments related to this product on this page so consumers can read through what's been said. You should also aim to display any media or additional UGC collected, as all of these provide reassurance to the buyer or potentially answer any questions or concerns to reinforce their decision. UGC is a big topic, and Ottilie will talk us through the rise of UGC a little later on. We talk a lot about friction, and you want to remove any friction from a consumer looking to find out more about your products and services. Keep them on site and increase their dwell time. Turn those browsers into buyers. We covered off why reviews can support SEO on the previous slide. But to add to this, if you really want to maximize this content, you should really partner with a Google Seller Rating partner. They are a licensed third-party review collector, as they provide the official mechanism for your customer reviews to appear as star ratings in Google Ads, both for brand and product, and also in organic search results. This can lead to other benefits, such as increased click-through rate, lower cost per click, and drive higher conversion rates. And finally, take a look at offline channels. Have you got any out-of-home campaigns running? TV, radio, newsletters, whether physical or digital, anything in any place where you can share your reviews and rating with your existing customers. Make sure you include them there. Also in store, if you've got a physical presence, have you got anything near the point of sale? A really lovely example of this, and a wonderful coincidence, was on the train into London this morning. I spotted one of our clients who had an advert on the train that showcased their brand rating, which was really lovely to see. It's obviously a lot to think about, and as always, these should be carefully considered and aligned for maximum impact. I'll now hand you over to Ottilie to talk you through how we at Feefo have been evolving our online display.
Thanks, Vicky. So now we've heard about the importance of displaying reviews and best practice guidance, I'm going to talk to you about our widgets. So here on the right is an example of one of our legacy widget types, one that you may have used or maybe one that you currently use. Last year, we made the decision to update our widgets and unify them into one central design language with cohesive branding and more flexibility. We looked into our data on the existing widgets, collated client feedback, and aligned on key insights. While the widgets work well to display feedback, they had limited customization options, so CSS was required. CSS is a type of software used to edit things like font and color on a web page. They had older branding and UI. They were not mobile optimized, so while they work on mobile, they weren't purpose-built for it. They had basic filter functionalities, and there were some accessibility challenges. One of our biggest drivers actually for change were the accessibility challenges. We had a case where a consumer with visual impairment got in touch to let us know that their screen reader couldn't properly scan the widgets and read out their content. They expressed their frustration around sites that weren't set up to accommodate all users and how it wasn't hard to add small things in that could make a really big difference to them. We got insight into areas we could improve, how we could make the widget more accessible, and better understood how we should be serving all users. And we knew we wanted this to be central to our development of the new widgets. Next slide, please. So this call with the consumer who gave us the feedback about the lack of accessibility prompted us to look into different areas we could become more accessible, not only for screen readers and those with visual impairments, but also for others with different accessibility requirements. So here are some of the things we did. We updated our summary stars to be higher contrast, easier to see, and we've added in tips on ideal contrast ratios into our settings page to help you. We changed our sizing options for all text across the new widgets, never going below 16 pixels anywhere, and increasing the sizes of all smaller assets, like badges, to a higher minimum threshold. We included focus states across every element on a page, meaning that those who solely use their keyboards to navigate, as opposed to using a mouse or a trackpad, which is more common than you might think. And lastly, we did rigorous testing using several different types of screen readers across both desktop and mobile, and we added descriptive tags to elements in the widget. Now, this isn't just a Feefo thing, this is a general point, and while I have you all here, The WCAG, who I'll provide a link to in the chat later, provides accessibility guidelines that you can easily check your own site against to make sure they're usable and accommodate all types of needs. The thing I'm most proud of in the development of our new widgets is the fact that they are best in class for accessibility. So if you're not using Feefo and you're with another provider, do look into these, as they are all points that we can all do a little bit better on. Next slide, please, Sarah. So earlier I showed you a slide of the legacy widgets, as we've called them. And in fact, when I started this project with my team last year, we actually had 5 different types of widgets supported, which was wild. When I dug into this and was like, why on earth is this the case? I discovered a key user insight, which is the reason we supported so many types still was that many of our clients hadn't migrated across to newer versions due to limited engineering resource. And that's why we decided to build a code-free way for everyone across all widget types with any kind of code on their website to toggle on the new widgets. Sarah, next slide, please. And they would automatically update to the newest version on their site without any code changes required, just a little toggle in our hub. And this toggle, once turned on, also allowed merchants to receive new updates as they came out. In the first 60 days of this going out, we saw 2,000 accounts toggle on. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at what else has been included in the new widget updates. We've got updated branding in line with our new look and feel for a more modern Feefo. We've got mobile first designs, as up to 64% of global web traffic comes from mobile. So gone are the days of, oh, it's all right because it looks good on my computer. We've updated to modular content blocks. And the idea behind this is that the content blocks are configurable in the settings. So you can add and remove features as you like to create the most stripped back or the most bells and whistles version for on your site. And finally, as was much requested, we added in a lot of customization options, from color to stars to font. So if you wanted to, your widgets could look like this. Sarah, will you click the next slide, please? Thank you. So you can see there that we've got different color options and different fonts, and you could do a lot more as well. On the whole, there is far more flexibility when it comes to your display while keeping accessibility, clarity, and mobile-first usability front of mind. And now I'm going to pass you back to Vicky.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Ottilie. I think any businesses will welcome low or no code enhancements. So that's really helpful. We're now going to hear from Hannah at CV Villas about why reviews are important and at the heart of everything CV Villas do.
Thanks, Vicky. Next slide, please. So at CV Villas, everything we do centres around our service. From the moment someone starts searching for a villa holiday with our sales team through to our reps on the ground in resort. We know that 9 out of 10 consumers read a review before purchasing, and that's a big part of why we use Feefo reviews so prominently, because they help us show what level of service we provide. Next slide, please. Our guests explain the CV Villas experience far better than anyone ever could. Our marketers can talk about personal service, attention to detail, those little details and the thoughtful touches that we provide. But when a guest says it, it just lands better. These are some of my favourite reviews that we've had this year. The first, there's one from a guest who mentions his grandson had the best holiday ever. And this sums up how we want every customer to leave their holiday feeling. The next mentions reassuringly personal in a real world of online chaos. That line describes our service better than any tagline ever could. And then the next is, I felt welcome back like an old friend. That shows a genuine connection that a customer's had with one of our sales team. So all these reviews bring our service to life better than a standard marketing messages. And that's why we lean on them across so many of our marketing channels. Next slide, please. So here are just some examples of how we use Feefo. The first on the left here is a screen grab of our new TV ad. Unfortunately, I can't play it for you because it's not launched yet. It's coming out at the end of December. But we've included our Feefo rating visually and in our voiceover. You only get a few seconds to make a really big impact with a TV ad. And we wanted to make sure we got across that we were a trusted brand and we had a great level of service. So it was really important that we included it both visually and in the voiceover. On the right is an example of how we've used it on our social media. So we use it across our paid and organic. With our paid, we use it on our retargeting campaigns on Meta. So those people who might have looked on our site and have not yet booked that, we retarget them with an ad that's got a testimonial, so it gives a real authentic view of what service we provide and brings that trust element in straight away. Next slide, please. Some more examples here of how we use it in our direct mail campaigns. We send 3 direct mails a year, some to people who have previously booked and not yet booked yet, and a whole database of people who might have never heard of CV Villas. We use testimonials throughout. It's not just one page. We have it on multiple pages. And we like to include it when they mention our sales team or our reps. It really brings that personal element to life and the personal service that we provide. And again, it just brings that proof point straight away to the people that have potentially never heard of us and bring that, we are a trusted brand. For us, displaying feedback isn't just a nice to have. It's genuinely part of our marketing messaging. We use feedback anywhere it helps people understand who we are and what makes a CV holiday different from other brands. We've spent 50 years hand selecting villas and building a reputation for exceptional service. And Feefo helps us show that the experience we talk about is real and guests consistently feel taken care of. And for a completely new audience, people who may have never heard of CV Villas, that transparency builds really quickly. And that's why we think it's so essential for us to include it in as many marketing campaigns as we can. I'm going to hand back to Feefo now.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Hannah. It's really lovely to see all those different examples, and I guess hopefully help some of the people that are on the call today understand things that and look at different ways to kind of showcase their review score regardless of who they're using. So thank you so much for that. We are now going to dig a little bit deeper into UGC, and I'm going to hand you over to Ottilie.
Thanks, Vicky. So now I'm going to take you through user-generated content, or UGC, what it is, how people are using it, what our research has shown, and how we recommend integrating it. Next. Thanks. So UGC really is the new currency of trust. UGC refers to any content such as videos and images shared by users rather than brands or companies. So for example, if I were lucky enough to go on a CV Villas holiday and I took a photo and posted it on my Instagram, that would be user-generated content. It's often used by brands for marketing because it's seen as more authentic and true to consumers than traditional advertising. Next. Oh, no, stay on the same slide. In a study done by Nielsen, 92% of consumers trusted peer recommendations and UGC over traditional brand advertising, similar to what Vicky mentioned earlier. As of 2025, the UGC market was worth over $7.6 billion US, marking a 69% increase from the previous year. And it's also projected to surpass $32 billion US by 2029. Now, those are some really big numbers, but what is the impact on your bottom line? When brands successfully integrate user-generated content onto their product pages, the results are dramatic. We looked to success stories like the iconic London case study, which reported a verified 126% conversion lift within a year of implementing their targeted UGC strategy on their product pages. So what does this mean in real terms? It means that shoppers who interact with authentic content, like customer photos and reviews, are significantly more likely to trust the product and click buy, resulting in higher conversion rates. So we know that UGC can drive an incredible amount of conversion. The secret to capturing that revenue is simple: reduce the friction from inspiration to purchase, which brings us to making UGC actionable through shoppable content. Next slide, please. So this is what I mean by actionable UGC. The core idea is to close the loop between the inspirational content that drives trust and the actual transaction. We need to eliminate the searching, the scrolling, the extra clicks, the spending ages online trying to find that jacket from that person in a video that you really liked. Today, brands are primarily tackling this in 3 ways that I've outlined here. 1, by integrating shoppable feeds right on their homepage so users can go in and directly click and purchase. 2, by embedding visual reviews directly on the product pages. 3, by featuring short-form video testimonials that immediately link back to the items shown without sending users on a wild goose chase. The challenge isn't just generating the content, it's making all of this work seamlessly at different touch points. So let's look at the important features required to turn this strategy into a reality. Next. So we know what great actionable UGC looks like, but to deliver on that strategy, you need the right set of tools. During our in-depth discovery phase, where we analysed the most successful client campaigns and gathered feedback on critical pain points, we identified 6 core capabilities that were rated as the most important and most frequently used components for driving both UGC volume and high conversion rates. They are multi-source UGC collection, so allowing people to aggregate from Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever they may post. 2 is flexible widget layouts, so grids, carousels, feeds, stories. This means being able to create something that's dynamic and works on different pages. Advanced analytics, being able to track engagement, conversions, watch time, add to cart, all sorts of things. 4 is shoppable UGC galleries, like I just mentioned, so tagging products for one-click checkout. Next is content moderation and rights. So this is filtering and automated rights requests, being able to pull this content in. And lastly, similar to our toggle in the hub, is a simple setup. Single code snippets for dynamic, no code required updates. So we identified these, and now I'm going to tell you about the solution we designed specifically to meet every single one of them. Next, Feefo Social. Next slide, please. So Feefo Social is our new user-generated content solution. We built it to empower brands to collect, curate, moderate, and display authentic content from customers and creators. The key is that it's seamlessly integrated within the Feefo hub, which means you can amplify social proof and drive conversions by embedding dynamic UGC widgets across all of your digital touchpoints. It is the foundation you need to make UGC truly actionable in the way that we spoke about in the last slide. So what are the key features? Next slide, please. This is what it looks like in practice. We've taken those 6 pillars that I mentioned and brought them to life within a centralized dashboard, giving you complete control. On the left, you can see the necessary flexible layouts that ensure your content fits perfectly on any page, whether you need a grid, a carousel, a 3D layout, maybe a floating rectangle, whatever you like. On the right, you can see UGC that's been collected across different sources and collated for you to pick from. I keep explaining it in our demos as kind of like a Pinterest board. It's everything anyone's posted about a specific product or about your brand all into one place where you can go through and select the items, the videos, the pictures that feel most aligned to you. And right in the center, you have the advanced analytics. You can track everything that matters, including engagement, conversions, and most crucially, add to cart metrics. So you're able to tag products, add to cart buttons, and you can see every time someone clicks one of those and how much revenue you're able to generate from using individual widgets. Essentially, we've delivered all the features our research showed was the most crucial, from multi-source collection to simple setup, all in one place, allowing you to easily scale your shoppable UGC efforts. And if you go into the next slide, please, Sarah. It is actually officially launching today, which is quite serendipitous. It wasn't planned. But if you did want a live view, you can go to bluechipfeed.com to see it on there. They were our beta testers, and we've had a lot of fun, running it over the last 2 months with them. Vicky, I will now hand back to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ottilie. It's really lovely. And definitely go and have a look at the Blue Chip Feed example if you want to see how our UGC solution is implemented. Great. So we are now on to our final section of the masterclass for today before we move on to Q&A. So we're looking at review labeling and the DMCC. So next slide, please. So I'm sure you are all familiar with this, but for those of you that are not, the DMCC Act introduces a new regime overseen by the Competition and Markets Authority's Digital Markets Unit. This came about because existing consumer protection laws were considered outdated and ineffective. The Digital Markets Competition and Consumer Act from 2024 introduces significant guidance and legal obligations regarding the display of reviews and their labelling, primarily focused on ensuring transparency and preventing misleading practices. The guidance bans or prohibits 3 main areas related to reviews and places a positive obligation on businesses to ensure compliance. So let's recap what these points are. Under the DMCC Act, the following are banned practices and automatically unfair commercial practices. Fake reviews, so submitting or commissioning a fake consumer review, a review that purports to be based on a person's genuine experience, but is not. Hidden incentivized reviews, so submitting or commissioning a consumer review that conceals the fact it's been incentivized. So incentives can include things like payments, free products, discounts, or other benefits. And 3, misleading publication, so publishing consumer reviews or consumer review information in a misleading way. So let's look at the guidance on display. The Act outlines that businesses must avoid publishing reviews in a misleading way. They should refrain from practices such as cherry picking or suppression, failing to publish, remove, or make it difficult to see negative reviews whilst publishing or highlighting only positive ones. Prioritization, so giving greater prominence to positive reviews over negative ones in the display or rankings. So these are two key points for consideration when you look at on your homepage, putting in a review carousel that we talked about a little bit earlier. Misleading presentation, so presenting reviews of one product as relating to a different product. Outdated reviews, continuing to display genuine reviews that are no longer reflective of a product or a service that has significantly changed. And omitting information, so failure to clearly disclose when a review has been incentivized. For a review that has been incentivized, the key guidance here is to ensure that there is clear and prominent disclosure. So the disclosure requirement outlines the fact that the review was incentivized and must be immediately apparent to anybody looking at it that it is such. Clear labeling. This usually requires an unambiguous tag or a label, for example, #ad, incentivized review, or something similar, placed clearly with the review content. And genuine experience. Even when a review has been incentivized, the business must ensure that the reviewer is told the review still must reflect their genuine experience of the product or of the service. So businesses that publish consumer reviews are under a positive obligation to take reasonable and proportionate steps to prevent the publication of and to remove the 3 key points outlined in the banned review practice. To recap, those were fake reviews, hidden incentivized reviews, and misleading publication. So what does this mean in practice? So businesses must have clear published policies on fake and incentivized reviews. Businesses must implement systems to check that the reviews are from genuine customers. Businesses must conduct regular risk assessments and use manual and automated monitoring systems to detect these suspicious review patterns. Businesses must have a timely process to investigate and remove banned content and correct the associated information. Now, the CMA ran a fantastic webinar on the 4th of September, which covered the steps that the CMA expect publishers of reviews to take in relation to fake and incentivized reviews, the requirement to avoid publishing consumer reviews in a misleading way, and the findings of the recent CMA sweep of review publishers' policies, the concerns that this sweep highlighted, and the steps that they should take to ensure compliance with the law going forward. I would highly recommend watching this should you want any further information, and we will pop a link to this in the chat for you to go and refer to. Next slide, please. So what does this mean? So from a Feefo perspective, how we manage the labelling of reviews is displayed here. It's clear, it's concise, and attributed to each review that's published. If you haven't already done so, please do review your own display mechanisms to ensure they're compliant, because after all, trust is global. And while the DMCC Act and the EU's DMA are legally binding within their specific jurisdictions, their practical effect is to compel global compliance due to the severity of the enforcement. It closely aligns with the US FTC's final rule on consumer reviews and testimonial, which became effective in October 2024. And consumers worldwide rely on reviews. Their trust is easily damaged. Adopting the DMCC standards globally signals a strong commitment to trust and transparency and builds consumers' goodwill, which is a valuable asset in all markets. So in summary, displaying feedback is more than just showing stars. It's demonstrating quality, building trust, and turning insights into action. When you place reviews where they matter the most, you don't just reassure customers, you remove the friction, you boost confidence, and you make every click count. Great, so that concludes the presentation section for today. So we'll move on to questions. So Ottilie, have you been having a look in the chat to see?
I have. We haven't had too many questions through yet, but I've been sent some private ones and I've got some from my FAQ. So to give people a moment to ask some questions, I'm going to run through some of the ones I've been sent. So the first one was, what is the name of the guidance you mentioned around accessibility, and can you share a link? It's the WCAG, and I've sent a link through to Sarah. Sarah, I'm not able to share directly into the chat, so if you could pass that on, please. It details literally everything you can think of, so you'll be able to have a look. Another question I got asked is it a legal requirement to be accessible? So actually, all service providers are required to make reasonable adjustments under the Equality Act in 2010 in the UK. So public sector websites must meet international standards like the CAG 2.2 AA, it's a mouthful, while private sector organisations must make reasonable adjustments to ensure equal access to services for people with disabilities. Though the specific technical standards are not actually mandated by the Equality Act itself. So it's basically up to us to make sure we're doing a good job and people can access the website or different websites. The next question was, what are the best ways to display UGC on different pages? Are there some types that work better than others? Yes, so what we've got is, as Vicky mentioned at the beginning, we've got a guide that we're going to send out after the masterclass, and we've got all sorts of information like that about what works best on product pages, what works best as like a gallery on your homepage, and the different kind of metrics you're looking at different points in the funnel and what they're sort of working towards. So we will share that just after this. Just got one more. Is it incentivized if someone works for the company if we gift products to our employees? The answer to that is yes. So anyone who's received discounts or gifted items and then reviews them are incentivized. The only difference we have is product testers, which has its own label. So that is a product testing campaign that we run through Feefo, and it's disclosed as such. So that's when people are sent, a product to test out for in exchange for leaving their honest review. And we disclose those separately. But if it's within your own business, it would count as incentivized. Should we go through some of the ones in the chat?
Definitely. So I think there's one question in the chat which says, so further to DMCC compliance and cherry picking reviews, does this mean that all reviews must be displayed, or are we able to run specific campaigns for internal use only? So I think this actually came up as a similar question in our first webinar. And I think the guidance here is if you are displaying those reviews publicly, you can't cherry pick them. If they are service related reviews, if they're product related reviews, if you're looking to collect internal feedback, so for example about engagement with your customer services team, if you've had that point of contact, if it's to do with refunded items for you to get better business insights, from a Feefo perspective, we can collect those reviews privately for your internal business understanding. It depends on your kind of review provider. I'm not sure if that question came from a Feefo customer. But I would, definitely recommend just having a look and seeing what channel and what you're looking to get from those feedbacks. Let's have a look. There was another question that just asked about the DMCC and where it was enforceable. So the DMCC Act is in EU legislation. There's the US guidance that came out in October, but I think globally it is going to become something that other areas of the world take on.
Yeah.
And from
Could
a
I just...
Go on, sorry.
No, I was just going to build on that, but you go first. No,
I was just going to say from a compliance perspective as well, the fine for not being compliant with the DMCC is 10% of global turnover. So that's obviously a huge amount. So ensuring compliance, not just in the EU, more globally, is something to make sure you're factoring in as a business.
Yeah, and just to build on that, obviously we're not a compliance team, so it's worth checking with your legal and compliance teams internally or reading the guidance yourself. But what we have discovered is that the DMCC seems to be the strictest. Also, sorry, the sun is suddenly shining in London, which never happens. The DMCC we've seen to be the strictest in terms of the legislations required globally. So we have a lot of clients in the US, North America, different parts of Europe, and we found that generally if you're within guidance for the DMCC, you're usually covered for the other elements, but do have a look yourself and run that by your compliance teams. I just had a look, Vicky, I think this might be a good one for you. Do you find that some websites use multiple reviews platforms on their website, e.g. Google Reviews, TripAdvisor and Feefo? We're currently discussing whether to just use one or multiple on our website, e.g. Feefo on our accommodation pages and Google Reviews on our homepage.
Yeah, I mean, that is a question that comes up a lot. And I think from our perspective, we do see customers using different mechanism to capture feedback, and we'll work with multiple suppliers. I think from our standpoint, it's what is the business decision there, and ultimately also always putting the consumer first. So if you're asking for service reviews from one provider and you're asking for product reviews from another provider, what's the timing of those emails? Because are you going to get service comments in the product feedback because of the time you're sending it out? So we do find it happens, but I think from a consistency perspective, it makes better sense to have one provider that sources your brand feedback and also your product feedback, because also from a consumer perspective, again, it's clear who who you're going to be asked for feedback from, and they understand kind of they are your go-to for feedback. They are your kind of trusted source. I don't know if anyone's got anything else they want to add to that.
No, I think always like the more information, as long as it's clearly laid out, the better, to give your customers, the best chance at being able to make an informed decision. There was a question that came through that I think probably Vicky and myself will answer. So we're a small business and only have a limited number of customer reviews on our product pages. We currently display general reviews about our overall product range rather than reviews for each specific item. Is this an acceptable practice, given that we don't have enough individual reviews for each product yet? Vicky, do you want me to speak to that? Or would you?
You can start, and then I can chip in.
Yeah, great. So what I was going to say is we do know that people do this. From a compliance perspective, I couldn't speak to that. That's something you'd have to look at in the DMCC. But I think as long as it's labeled clearly that they're general product range reviews, rather than making it seem like they're for that specific product. So as Vicky spoke about with the DMCC, the whole thing is just giving transparency and always showing that you're making reasonable steps towards trying to be as transparent as possible. So for example, if you were displaying the product range reviews and you were sort of trying to make it look like it was reviews for that specific product rather than the whole range, that would probably not be compliant. Versus if you very clearly label, reviews on our range, that then feels a lot more clear. Would you add anything to that, Vicky?
No, I think that's a really nice summary, utterly. Well done.
Lots of questions. Thanks, everyone. Regarding the new Feefo social UGC solution, will that be rolled out to everyone today? And someone asked, will it be charged for? So this is a brand new feature. A lot of competitors charge in the multiple thousands for this. So it's something that it'll be a chargeable feature. It'll be separate to the main package. So it won't be rolled out as a surprise into your hub today. But if you're interested, please contact your CSM. We can get in touch with us and we can chat to you about setting that up for you. But yeah, theoretically, it's available as soon as possible. Do you have any findings on how Feefo reviews impact LLMs, or how does Feefo impact AI searches? This is a really good question. Vicky, did you want to go into this one and how it's picked out?
If you would mind taking it, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay,
Natalie.
Great. Yeah. So I couldn't remember if Vicky went over this in the presentation or not, because it's something we've been asked a lot. So basically, as much we're a Google partner, so we work with Google, and the idea is that everything that we display is crawlable and works well within a Google environment. So that means that all of our widgets are crawlable and will be included in AI searches. So what's great is the more reviews you get, the more likely you're going to be pulled into those searches. And if someone goes on to ChatGPT or Gemini and says, oh, tell me about a great, kettle that I could buy for my new home, the more reviews you have, the more likely you are to come up there. And because we're a Google partner and we also use Google reviews and we're integrated directly with them, you have high likelihood of ranking there as well. So it does get included. Let me have a look. Is there a way to filter reviews by location? At the moment, all of our reviews appear in one combined feed, and ideally would like customers to be able to view reviews specific to the location they're interested in. Great question. And it's actually something we're working on at the moment. That's going out in the roadmap next year. Something you can do at the moment, if you're already a Feefo client, is you can segregate by language. So for example, you can set it so that if a consumer goes on your website, it looks at what their locale is. So if my native language is French, for example, and I go onto your website, it'll mean that the widget reads that and everything's displayed in French for me. So you can set those things. That's not by location, but it's by language. And then next year, we're bringing in the location filtering, similar to how Amazon have it laid out at the moment. We've used them as inspiration.
Lovely. And I guess just to add to that as well, again, if you're a current Feefo customer, if you are telling us the locale and the country that reviewer has come from, we can segment the reviews displaying based on that. I would definitely recommend in that instance, speak to your CSM and we can advise on kind of best practice there.
Absolutely. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that's come through.
Yes, lots of questions. Thanks, everyone.
Coming back to DMCC compliance and cherry picking, I have the possibility in the Feefo settings just to show on my website 3+ star ratings, for example. Is that not compliant anymore? So I think what you might be referring to there is in your topics and snippets or your service carousel. So there you're allowed to do that. We just don't allow that on the general feeds. So for example, for an on-page widget, you wouldn't be able to only show 3 stars and above, for example. But in the snippet ones, which are service carousels, that is allowed because you're showing a snippet or a section or a highlight. And the same with our highlighted topics at the top, they're viewed differently. It's just so long as on the main feed pages that you have all of the reviews.
Yeah, and all of those widgets will have click here to read all reviews, and those need to be an unfiltered view of both positive and negative reviews as well. So again, it's that transparency. it is making sure that that's clear to the consumer that's looking at your website.
Yeah. One of the other things, I think this has already been answered in the chat, but someone said, was the other session recorded and could they have the slides from this session? The answer to both of those is a big emphatic yes. The last session was recorded, you can watch it, and you'll also get the recording from this and the slides as well. And we'll send you links, and you get your little booklet that our team have put together, which has all of the best practice guidances and everything we've spoken through in a lot more detail. And you can read at your own leisure.
Yeah, and it also has a really nice checklist at the end, which kind of gives you those key points to kind of review and make sure that you're checking from your perspective.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Are there any ones that we haven't touched on? Does anyone has any final questions? Please pop them in the chat.
Yeah, I would echo that. Not a question, but utterly is fab.
Thank you. I think that's everything. Well, look, we don't want to keep any more of your time on a what was it, a Tuesday morning. But I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and please do get in touch with us. Sarah, if you go to the final slide, you can find all of our contact details, get in touch with us, ask us lots of questions, and we'd be more than happy to help. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.